So first of all, there's very extremely strict affirmative action at play here. So for example, when I started my first job here, I got given this form. This is given to me by the state, and they want me to fill in my race. What happens when I fill in white on this form is that my company immediately gets penalized. They have to pay more tax for employing a white person instead of a black person. They take into account what percentage of the company is white versus black. So it's really distressing. You go through your whole life, the interview, and you feel so sorry for your company for giving me this job and immediately taking a tax hit just for giving this white boy a job. And so, of course, there are actually no tests in South Africa to say, like, are you black or are you white? Like, shine a light on your skin and see what the computer says whether you're white or black. There are no tests like this. It's all self-determined. So I was thinking, yeah, let me just fill in. I'm going to fill in I'm not white, so my company doesn't get screwed over. But what happens then is HR, the people in HR, they already know what color I am. So they'll get the form. As they punch in the data, they'll see, okay, this guy said he's not white, that's not correct. They'll immediately go to my superior and say, this guy isn't giving us the correct information. It's politically really sensitive. I think I'll be labelled a troublemaker in the company. A company in South Africa, they just want to make money, as any company, whatever the political situation. They don't want to be politically activists. I tick the right box. I did the government a favour and identified myself as white. Whilst I think they should actually just go through the steps and have a laboratory where they can measure my hair, measure my skin or whatever, get the measurements out and say, okay, now you are white, we've got to tax your company more. But it's really embarrassing psychological problem that I actually went and self-identified myself for them. It's almost like a company saying, yeah, everybody of this race should jump in a hole and kill themselves, and then I actually go and do it myself without them having to even make me do it. So that's a funny thing about being white. You get given this form. And yes, you'll also read adverts for jobs that will actually tell you in red, written down, that this is a job for non-white people. Don't bother applying. The second thing that's fortunately not in the laws, but that is unique about being white in South Africa, is the crime. So yeah, generally criminals just want money. They don't really gonna go and kill people because of their race and then take their money. So everybody affected by crime similarly in South Africa. The thing about being unique about whites in South Africa is that we don't know any white people who commit robberies. Neither have I, for example, even heard about any white person who heard about another white person who committed a robbery. But we suffer massively from robberies. So it just feels as if there's an external force working on the white community. It doesn't come from the white community, violent robberies. It's as if the white community has sorted itself out in terms of not committing violent robberies, but still it happens to us, and that just feels unfair. Say, for example, another country bombs your city to smithereens and many people die. That'll feel more unfair than the case was if you yourself got into airplanes and bombed that other country, either before or during. If you're non-white, I would say that you also suffer from violent robberies. Your friends, your family suffer from it, but you also know about people you know people in the non-white communities who have committed violent robberies and also get the advantage of it. For example, you might have a barbecue and then suddenly your friend rocks up in this brand new BMW motor car and he's so happy he's got this new car, or he's got a nice gold chain suddenly, and he hasn't got a job. The first guy obviously was now a violent robber. Disadvantage is we don't see that in the white community. Some of our friends don't just suddenly become rich and through doing no work. So that's the second point. It's all the massive violent robberies that happen to us. For example, how massive and all over the country violent robberies happens in our community. I've been at work many times where my colleagues just come back from lunch and say, I've been robbed. I saw people shoot at each other during lunch in the street. I play this recording from the most recent colleague who just returned from lunch after having been robbed.
Car, grab the Uber's phone. So you know the Ubers, they have their phones like on the dash with that holder. They grab the phone and that holder, and they're like gone before you know it. Like before I can even turn around to look at the guy, it's gone.
So the Uber driver got his phone stolen.
Yeah, my phone was charging on his charger under my leg. So like I left my phone. Yeah, I was like lucky I wasn't using my phone, or it's going to be my phone that's gone. Because it would have been an easy target.
I'm glad
but
it
can happen
grab
so
you.
quickly. It's sure.
I myself went out for lunch and got dropped by two guys at knife point. Just came back to the office, put the knife down that I got off them, said, yeah, I got dropped by two guys, my mobile phone is gone now, and I'll just continue working on my Excel spreadsheet here, doing my normal work, nothing to do. Incidentally, eventually I went to report this case at the police station. The policeman took the knife, which I by then have put in a plastic bag to protect their fingerprints. He took the knife with his bare hands out of the bag, and I said, what are you doing? And he had no concept of him spoiling the fingerprints. He just wanted to destroy the knife, effectively destroy evidence because it's a weapon. So he had no clue, no training. This was the station master of the police station, and he also said, why are you opening a case? We're not going to catch the guys. It never happens that we catch these guys. As I talked about affirmative action, imagine how harsh it was in the state service. So for example, if you were a white person in the state service, you just can't get promoted. They just let you wait here and work and work and work until you just decide, okay, I've got to leave. I don't know how many people have been fired, but so, especially in the police, you can work there for 20 years, have an outstanding record, you'll never become a captain because you are white, so they'll always put black people up in front of you. So the state service got gutted of all the skills they had, and I don't know how much new skills came back, but I know that just from my experience at this police station that there is an interesting analogy I want to say. Like there was this movie made of Nelson Mandela by Clint Eastwood, and Nelson Mandela came into his office for the first time. All the white people, the white admin staff, were packing up their bags and desks because they thought they were going to be fired. And Nelson Mandela said, "No, you can stay. We need you." So I'm glad, Mandela, that you kept your white admin staff, but the rest of the country could not. Another example of the violence in this country, my parents live in probably the safest neighborhood in South Africa. So a year ago I returned, I stayed with them for a bit, and 3 o'clock in the morning we all got woken up, the entire street, by these blood-curdling screams, and we ran out, me and my dad having our pistols, and we run at night, up and down the street seeing, who got hurt. And yeah, it actually was our neighbours got broken into, and the woman got stabbed in her chest, and that was the woman who was screaming like that. Also 2 weeks later, another person got killed in a block of flats just 2 blocks away from us, and about 6 months later, another guy who's probably in a much safer area than we live, but it's also very close by, about 5 blocks away. And he was actually a famous media mogul and actually the boss of the company that I worked for, and he got killed in his house as well by robbers. So it's just all within a year in the safest area in South Africa. So that's the negative things. Perhaps there are some good things about being white in South Africa. I can say that one of the good things that it must be unusual for being white in South Africa is that physical labor is really cheap in South Africa. So for example, if you want your bathroom tiled, if you want a house built, if you own a company that builds buildings, then you will get really cheap labor to perform the building work for you. I say this is an advantage of being white because just as, I don't know, white people who commit crimes or know about white people who have committed crimes, also, I don't know white people who do manual labor, who work outside and put down cement and mix cement or work in a mine. I don't know white people, nor do I even know white people who do that. So it's really rare for us. Although there are a lot of white beggars, I don't know how to explain that. So there is extremely strict affirmative action. So there is extremely thick